Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a quick video on coil springs. Nothing too in-depth, just how to cut them. Came up today on the Drop Tin Grill page on Facebook group. Sorry. Somebody was looking at lowering, easiest way, cheapest way. In the front is a cut coil. Even with a van lower control arm, you get a fairly significant drop. But if you want to, say, just go a couple inches on a stock with a rear hanger and a front coil cut, we're just going to show you quickly how to get the numbers on that. Lots of guys just cut a coil and you're good. There's actually a little bit of math involved in how to figure out how much to cut. First of all, we don't use heat to cut them. You don't use heat to shrink them. I had one, somebody just put the heat to a coil till it collapsed. It's a horrible idea. But anyway, we got a half-ton Dodge pickup. I don't know where it came from, 75, doesn't matter. Should be a little taller. Coil. There it is. This is just going to pertain to our 72 to 80 trucks. Lots of different styles of coils, pigtail coils, variable spring rate coils, whatever. But these are our standard factory half-ton coil. Anyway, this is an old one I had laying around just for demonstration purposes. I just grabbed it, didn't really matter. If you want to do this with a new coil, it's a good idea to put it in the truck first. Run it around 10 minutes, roll it back and forth, bounce it a couple times, get an idea of where your ride height is going to be. If you use an old wore out spring, you're going to have, say, 30 inches. If you put a new spring in it, you'll have 31. So if you're measuring from the ground to the top of your fender for a specific height, so you're at 30 and you want to, say, go to 28, 2-inch drop. Well, if you measure it, say you want 2 inches, then you go get new springs and you cut 2 inches, you're going to end up with not 2 inches because you've changed the spring. So you have to go with whatever spring you're going to cut in there. So if you just want to cut your old wore out spring just to give it a try, because it's an old wore out spring anyway, measure your fender height, 30 inches. Say you want to cut 3 inches out of it. So you want to get down to 27. So you pull your spring, you take the amount you want to drop, 3 inches, and you divide it in half, first of all. So you want 1.5 inches of cut off of the spring. It's just the way it works. So you take the spring upside down. This is the top, it's flat, and the bottom has your little coil, and your A-arm, it'll have a little bit of a recess in the pocket where it sits in. So you set it flat side down so it stands properly, and you measure your spring height. Now, because this one is an old wore out spring, it'll be the highest point will generally be the end of the coil. So this one here, we've got 13 inches. So we want a 3-inch drop, so we want to cut 1.5 inches off it. So we take and we just track around the spring coil. So we're at 13, so we want to go 11.5 inches is where we want to cut. So we just track around the spring until we find a spot where the top of the spring at 11.5 inches. So actually on this particular spring, we'd make a mark right here. We'd actually be a coil and 1/8. We'd cut that with anything. Just an abrasive wheel is probably the best, creates the least amount of heat. Hacksaw, if you're feeling real ambitious, although it's hard to get in there. It turns out to be actually quite a bit on this one. But if you have a new spring, this tail won't be beat all the way down. It'll be up and you'll lose altitude faster, so you won't cut as much. But that's kind of a good demonstration. Depending on, that's why it's not just one coil or half a coil gets you this much. Every spring is different. Like I said, this one we're going to cut a coil and 1/8 off it to get 1.5 inches. That's a big drop. 3 inches is quite a bit. That's how much you get with a van arm and a stock spring. So, that's another option you can go with. We'll discuss all the drop flips, different control arms, different lowers, all that stuff. We'll do that all in a separate video or two. Maybe I'm going to do a project on one here in the spring, which is actually almost kind of here. But anyway, so that's that measurement you want. You want half the distance of your drop, and then just track around the spring until you get to that number from the point of the height. And that's as easy as that is. That's how you figure out how much to cut, not just a random ring or whatever, because you cut too much and then you're boned. You're looking for a new spring. So anyway, that was it for today. That's all I wanted to bring up. And everybody have a great day. I'm out.